closing blinds. On.
It's this form of tactical Jim Crow style segregation where if you don't shoot that kind of gun, you don't care what happens to it, that will cause us to all lose our rights. But just remember, in the grand scheme of things, we're all in this together. So stand, fight, and have fun. The first time I felt the grip on an HK-G36 airsoft rifle, it was love at first touch. It was like gripping the Alcantara suede steering wheel of a Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera. The buttstock felt like it was biomechanically fused to the crease of my shoulder. And though the cheek weld left much to be desired, there was a small price to pay for what was essentially an almost perfect feeling rifle. I could barely contain myself as I anticipated what it would be like to fire this gun. So I dropped the safety, slowly wrapped my finger around the trigger, relaxed, and slowly pushed the trigger to the rear. I could hardly contain my excitement as I fired round after round after round. Hearing the sounds of the pellets whipping through the air like oversized spitballs made me even more excited. The recoil was so negligible that if I didn't see the pellets leave their mark on the target, I would have swore the gun stopped working. For a second, I felt like Hickok 45 shooting still targets like he used to before they took his guns away for our safety. I could almost smell the gunpowder when I engaged in rapid fire. It was incredible. Is this the future we want? Forced to watch airsoft reviews? I have nothing against airsoft, but we're closer to that future than we've ever been in our history. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's gonna ask for a glass of milk. When you give him the milk, he'll probably ask for a straw. When he's finished, he'll ask for a napkin. Then he'll want to look in the mirror and make sure he doesn't have a milk mustache. When he looks in the mirror, he might notice his hair needs a trim. Then he'll look in the mirror and make sure he doesn't have a milk mustache. When he looks in the mirror, he might notice his hair needs a trim. So he'll probably ask for a pair of nail scissors. When he's finished giving himself a trim, he'll want a broom to sweep up. He'll start sweeping, and he might get carried away and sweep up every room in the house.
Give me that! Give me that!
See, this is how anti-gunners will come for our guns. They're playing chess by slowly and methodically making this place gun-free, limiting this magazine, banning this ammo, extending background checks just a bit. And we're like a bunch of 10-year-olds playing checkers, only yelling and screaming when they try to do something overt, not realizing while we're mad and distracted about those things, they're quietly passing gun control measures that inevitably turn into a mountain of legislation banning every gun that we know of except for, well, this airsoft gun. As long as we keep telling ourselves no one's coming for our guns, this will be our future. You wouldn't let a criminal sell you an alarm system. Why would you let anti-gunners sell you on more gun control? It seems harmless enough. Just one more law, one more regulation. But what that really means is one more piece of our freedom gone. We've given so much already. If we give much more, there won't be anything left. You're out here in Cali and you shoot some amazing guns. You shoot crazy guns, right? And I've watched you within a couple of days I've been here jump through so many hoops, have to deal with so much garbage that literally in Texas, I just wake up and I'm like, hey, let's go throw this in the car, throw this in the truck, and go out and do what I have to do. But for you, it's literally like, it's a song and dance every time you have to do something.
You being here, riding in the truck with me, arriving to the studio and everything, and then seeing how much time I spend on the phone with the Department of Justice it's crazy. Like if
I've never talked to the Department of Justice.
well, man, I should have a red phone to them. My dangerous weapons permit has been the better part of 5 years, and that's extremely frustrating for me because I've jumped through all the hoops, and we're still like they're trying to figure out what more regulations they're going to impose.
You know, you talk about individual responsibility, nobody want to take it. It's because it's getting legislated and regulated out of existence in America. Every time you turn around, they're constricting more and more and more. Let's put this hurdle in the way because this one guy did this one time. You know, there's how many millions of gun owners in the United States of America? Millions. And you hear about what? 400 a year, 500 a year that do something stupid? And you're going to punish me for that? Ridiculous.
You can't go, like, this notion that it's either zero or nothing is not only, it's not workable. It's not feasible.
What do you
At
mean
the
it's
end
not
of the day,
workable?
because, like, you can't be all freedom all the time. You have to have some restrictions. That's life in general.
There's nothing else to be had. No one's asking for nuclear bombs. All we're merely asking for
Is
the
guns
ability
and the
to
right to have a shit ton of them.
No, the ability to effectively protect ourselves. Period. If we put more restrictive measures on guns, who is it going to end up restricting?
It's going to restrict you.
No,
And
no,
I
no, hold on.
understand.
But it's going to restrict the people, only the people who decide to obey those laws.
And that's
So,
totally accurate.
and so why are we creating more laws for people who are dead set on not obeying them? Why are so many people so willing to surrender their own freedom?
I think on one level, people haven't really, truly given themselves the ability to experience what that is. There's all these restrictions that have been a part of my consciousness for so long that maybe I don't even know what it's like to be free. Dictatorship regimes and restrictive governments, they slowly erode people's freedom, then they don't think any otherwise. You know, I mean, look at China, look at, you know, just the history is full of these examples, right? Of slow erosion of freedom to the point where it's like, oh, well, this is what's normal.
In New Zealand, we got a population of 4.47 million or something like that. And of that population, 230,000 are registered gun owners. And the rules are so strict that you can be pretty sure that, you know, the registered gun owners are other people that own guns. And the rules are this. First of all, you have to get registered, and as part of that registration process, the police will come to your house and they will inspect your gun safe and really just do a bit of a background check to make sure that there's no domestic violence involved. And then to own a handgun, you can only have that handgun in your home in a safe, at the gun range, of which there are 12 throughout the country, and in transit from the gun range to your home. To be a member of that gun range, you've got to pay your dues and you've got to attend 12 gun safety events throughout the course of the year.
Sounds like California. Here's the thing. Regardless of whether I have 50 guns or one gun, if somebody decides to steal my guns, it's because they decided to go and commit an illegal act and steal my gun. What's to stop them from going and breaking into 5 homes and stealing 5 different guns at one time?
What's to stop me from breaking in and stealing uranium? There's not a lot of shit around. I can't find the uranium, I can't steal it. If there's not a lot of guns around, I can't steal those guns. I'm not gonna break in and take those guns. I can't distribute it to the masses.
Which goes to my point. It's either you want to eliminate all of the guns or you don't.
Why do I have to choose? I'm compromising. If you want to feel protected, you want to feel safe and secure, and the only way you can feel safe and secure is with a gun. So, have one. Having multiple, though, that's excessive. It's unnecessary, and it leads itself to more problems.
Well, how do you systematically stop a felon from owning a gun, but for saying there's a law that says you can't own a gun? Are we going to systematically be able to destroy all the guns on the planet?
Yes.
Realistically speaking.
Right.
Realistically speaking, we can't.
What is to help reduce the amount of accidents? Is it technology that puts in, like, I need a fingerprint to fire a weapon? Because those exist?
In a vacuum, those ideas are perfect, right? Because if there was a gun that only fired when I intended to use it in a good way,
Correct.
right? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't live in a vacuum.
We're not there yet.
We're not. We live in a reality where picking up a gun that only fires when it reads my fingerprints could increasingly cause malfunction when I need the gun the most. Not only that, it creates a situation where I may not have control of the gun the way I want to. from the standpoint of, I don't know who's controlling the electronics behind this gun. I don't know who's controlling the information that this gun is transmitting to wherever database that gun is going.
I think really what it comes down to is that people are afraid. Then they want their government to protect them. Because, you know, then people, what they're trying to do is they're trying to change the world from outside instead of changing the world from inside of themselves, you know, by changing their idea about something. Because what that means is that because they're not taking their own personal responsibility and they're expecting someone else to you know, act on their behalf, then they're surrendering their freedom right there.
And the problem is the solution is way more difficult than banning guns. It's more difficult than regulations and education that's not going to address the inherent problems that we're starting to develop as a society.
People just don't want the responsibility that comes with freedom. Usually when you think freedom, when you say freedom, you think, oh, I can do whatever the hell I want, and then I have no repercussions or no responsibilities. That's not true. Freedom is a huge responsibility because without it, you have nothing.
When I first got into guns, I acquired a good number of them in a short period of time. Before I looked up, I had handguns, a rifle, and a shotgun. However, one thing was very certain. I never wanted to experience what it felt like to shoot a person. If I went my whole life never needing to pull a gun, I will die a happy man. But I had this incredible itch to get out and run my handguns and rifle and shotgun all at the same time. Going to the range held me over, but it felt a little empty. I wanted to shoot my guns with a purpose, without the restriction of a typical range. IDPA was great, but it only incorporated the handgun. I wanted something a bit more dynamic that involved moving, shooting, and transitioning to different guns. I did some searching and happily discovered 3-gun. Just like that, I had a rifle, a handgun, and shotgun, and I had a place to shoot exactly the way I wanted at the time. But when you stop and think about it, there are extremely, and I mean extremely few places outside of the US where people can shoot like this. Not because they don't have the resources, but because they don't have the right. Other countries look at our access to guns and shooting in disbelief like they let you all own and shoot those things. In reply, I say yes, because in my country, I have more rights than you. To those of us living in this great country we call America, let us not take for granted the freedoms that we enjoy. Because there's a world of people out there who envy what we have, and a group of people within who would take those freedoms away at a moment's notice. So be thankful, be grateful, but most importantly, be vigilant. So if you've been following the NOIR series, you realize lately I've been getting into 3-gun a lot more. So I decided that I wanted to take some time out and do some practicing on my own. So let's talk about the course that I'm gonna be running. I'm gonna start out from about 50 yards with the AR-15, and I'm gonna take 6 shots at the pie plates. After that, I'm gonna take the rifle, put it back in the barrel, sprint 50 yards. I have 10 clay pigeons set up on pikes down there where I'll take the J&M Pro Series shotgun and shoot at those targets. Once I complete those targets, I dump the shotgun back into the barrel, sprint about 5 to 10 yards, where I have 10 falling still targets that I'm gonna take down with my Glock 34. Let's run the course and see how I do. Okay. So, I'm a little rusty because I haven't been out here too long. Nonetheless, I didn't really do as good as I thought I would. I had a little choke up here with the shotgun that didn't go too well. I tried to work my way through it. Dropped a couple of rounds. I haven't really worked on my load too. Nonetheless, being able to kind of get out here and run through this as many times as I can is invaluable. Not everybody has access to a range like this, has access to all of this equipment, but the best thing that you possibly can do is just set up any type of course that you can that allow you to get trigger time and force you to focus on the fundamentals. I am not a three-gunner. I'm getting into it. However, I can think about a lot of things that come into play from the other types of styles of shooting that I've done and can incorporate them. Either way, above and beyond all of those things, it's just fun to get out here, be in nature, and to be able to compete against yourself. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna set this thing up again, run it, and see what I do time-wise.